Muazunuhu. Hi. Good evening. Hi, Detroit. Hi, good evening, everyone. Auntie Precious, Reese Badams, Orahachi, good evening, all. Good evening. Hi, Halima. Good evening. We're just waiting for Coach Jeph to join us, and we can start. Hi, Coach. I can see our guest is online. Hi, Mr. Surge. Good evening. Hi.
Hi. Good evening.
How are you?
Okay. How are you? All right. How've your day been?
Fine, thank God.
It's been okay. All right.
Yes.
Okay. I want to be sure that I'm
Pardon?
good. I hope Pardon? I want to be sure that you can see me. Am I good enough? Is it okay?
Very good.
Yes. Very good. All right.
Yes.
Okay. So are we ready?
Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening.
So good evening.
I'm glad to be here.
Good evening. Today we have with us Coach.
Coach.
Coach. Vast experience. We are so grateful today, and we can first.
All right.
Yes.
Okay. Your voice is escaping. There's a gap in your voice, so I'm not following properly.
Is it okay now?
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
I just
All right.
wait to hear what
Okay. Good evening, everybody. My name is Jeph Oluwagbemiga. I'm a psychologist and family system enhancement coach. So I'm glad to be here this evening. So Sally has brought me here, and I have no choice but to be here. So let's get it going. We are ready. All right. Okay.
Is my voice okay now?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
It is, but it's like it will go and then it will come back.
Oh, echo from
Let's get going. Okay. So can I go ahead?
Yes, please.
All right. So I'm supposed to be talking on maintaining relationship stress.
Yes, sir.
And stress is a very common occurrence in people, and a lot of time it's been misused. A lot of time we have misused the word stress because when something little just occurs, someone say, "You are stressing me. Let me try. Yes, maintaining stress level in relationship. Yeah, that's the topic. Maintaining stress level. When I saw it, I was like, we need to maintain. Anyhow, let's go ahead. Now, let me explain stress using this particular rubber band. I hope we can see this rubber band. I will try as much as possible to. Okay, this is a rubber band. At this level, this rubber band is at its normal, or let me say at its normal life. Normal life. But when anything whatsoever comes and try to pull it back a little bit, that thing is putting stress on this rubber band. Okay. Now, this rubber band can withstand this stress up to a certain point before it gets to a breaking point. That breaking point is where that stress becomes very dangerous. But at this normal, elastic, bearable form, it is not yet a problem, so to say, depending on how the person sees the stress and how the person addresses it. Now, there are good and bad stress. Let me explain. In relationship, for example, all of us intend to get into a relationship one day or the other. So when you get into that relationship, it's a good thing. But when you now need to, when you now begin to feel or experience that this person that you are dating or you are going out with now has occupied a space in your brain, such that when you normally close by 5 and when you close by 5, you go, remember that this other person is somewhere in your brain. Maybe you're already driving home and say, oh, there's someone that just entered my system, that just entered my space now. I need to see this person before going home. And then you have to make a detour. You say, oh, this is not your normal lifestyle. But that person has brought a kind of stress. And you have to drive extra kilometers, change your daily patterns, change your work plan for the day, change your to-do list to accommodate this person. That is stress. But because this particular stress is a good thing, because it's a healthy relationship, you don't mind the stress. Because your rubber band is being pulled apart, but you are still enjoying it because there's butterflies in your belly. And you are enjoying, so you are enjoying the stress because it's not a negative stress. But when you get to the point that you cannot cope any longer, it becomes a stress that is threatening your existence. So stress basically is something that tilts your balance or your homeostasis. This is a state of balance for this rubber band. This is a state of homeostasis for this rubber band. As soon as anything begins to pull it apart gently, can still accommodate. But when it gets to the breaking point is when people actually collapse or break down. But we don't encourage people to wait till that time. If it's a negative stress, for example, even if it's a positive stress, find a way to ensure that the stress does not terminate your elasticity. Elasticity gets terminated and then people break down. So we're talking about relationship now. So as I was saying before, let's assume that the person now enters into your space and you need to adjust your schedule to accommodate him or accommodate her. If the person is not grateful or is not reciprocating, you see that extra sacrifices as a problem and the stress becomes negative for you, and then you feel the weight of the stress more than how you will have felt it if the person has been reciprocating your gestures. So thank you for coming back. I forgot, I need to pick you. I was almost at home. I remember and I have to turn back. Say, oh, you did turn back. Oh, thank you so much for that. But if you say you turn back, why should you forget? Something wrong with you. Why should you forget? Is something wrong with you? And you feel that I took this, this stress was much. I had to go through traffic. I had to go and make a detour. I had to turn around and I had to drive for another 30 minutes to come and pick you. And you're still saying, my friend, it's your job to do it. Then the stress becomes negative. Then, because that relationship is already showing some sign of toxicity, so the stress becomes negative and then becomes painful. You know, you don't need to go to biology or whatever. You know, the stress hormones are the cortisol, adrenaline, and norepinephrine. And these three try to like push you to the limit. Normally, when you are afraid, adrenaline will take charge. When you are afraid, normally, cortisol is like the basic stress hormone. But these three are in the system, and when they pump into the system, something changes in your body. Now let's look at the social aspect now. If you are stressed, everything around you looks like the stressor, but everything around you is not actually the stressor. So when you're talking about stress, you need to also identify the stressors. What are the stressors? The stressor can be a person, can be a situation, It can be a space. Some people, okay, like I used to have a boss who hates red cars. He cannot stand, if he sees a red car, something just triggers negatively in him. He said even if he died and they put him inside a red car, that will wake up. Is that bad? He can't stand a red car. I don't know. I don't know exactly what the problem is. So if he's in a place and he's enjoying himself and a red car suddenly drives him, that becomes a stressor on him. You will not understand. I will not understand. Why is this man? Why did he just change like that? Or sometimes if you've had a bad relationship with somebody called Jeff, for example, and then maybe you now attended the training and you are using example, the lecturer I just mentioned, use Jeff as example, use Jeff as a point, that name becomes a stressor on you, and you won't, people will not understand. So there are always stressors, things that contribute to the pulling back, things that contribute to the stress. So if you are, the first thing we tell people is to identify the stressors. If you identify the stressors, then you can avoid it, you can adapt to it depending on the situation, or you can find a way to overcome it. So the truth is, you cannot overcome all stressors. You can handle them, because if the stressor is coming from a significant third party, for example, your boss in the office, or let's stay in relationship now. For example, your husband or your spouse is the stressor. How long will you run? In that situation, we tell people to, depending on the situation, we tell them to either adapt. First of all, address the stressor. And if the stressor is not budging, it's not giving way, and for your own mental health, find a way to your own mental well-being, rather, find a way to adapt to that situation to the best of your ability, because that situation that is keeping you on. This, as I'm pulling, I can feel that it's getting towards its breaking limit. So everybody knows they are breaking limits, but people want to think that they can do it, they can run through it. I will say, I don't worry, God is in control. He's in control, but what are you doing to be in charge? A lot of people are in a toxic relationship. The stress level is there, but because of what will people say, they go through the stress and the stress breaks them. So there are quite a whole lot of things that are people that are stressful. It varies from person to person, and it varies from situation to situation. So the bottom line is identify your stressors, then find a way to go around the stressor to overcome it. If it's something you could address, if for example, like I gave the example of my former boss who cannot stand a red car. So if you give him a red car as a gift, how do you think he can handle that stress? You go and change the color. Just change the color. You can handle that one. But if it is not a chronic thing and you don't want to change the color, you can adapt. Or you avoid. Okay. So you can avoid, you can adapt, or you can overcome, or you handle, take it out of the way. But it also depends. Now, coming to relationship, the relationship is one of the most, how do I say it now? The more you get, the more you talk about it, the more people don't even know what they are talking about. You ask people, what is love? You hear so many funny things. And a lot of people who are in relationship stress today, they are in that stress because they didn't even know what they were jumping into. And so they didn't prepare for it. They didn't prepare for it. So a lot of things in relationship can put people in that stress. Let me just give you an example. Our background, the place where the background where we grew up is always different. And so when we come and meet one another, and then we start dating, we start exchanging ideas, we find that it's possible that our ideas are not close. They are this way and that way. And you are wondering, how am I going to marry this kind of person whose ideas, whose philosophy, whose way of life does not flow without, it is not just flowing, I don't feel flowing. Now, that could be a stress. The environment could be a stress. The person at a point can become the stressor. Each time the person calls you on phone, you can feel say, oh God, this person again, that's stress already. So in that situation, we sit down and say, okay, these are the challenges we are having. And I'm being stressed because of this, and this. what can we do? You are addressing it now. You can decide to adapt to all the differences, but the question is, how long will you be able to adapt? Another thing is, you can ignore, but how long will you be able to ignore? So there are other questions that will follow your stand on each of the stressors. But the very first good thing to do is identify the stressors. List them out rather. List them out. Then you look at, and then there are different aspects of relationship, and you can talk about finances. You can talk about, let's start from affection. Affection is actually the most basic one. Maybe the person, some people are not romantic, and maybe in your bucket list you want a very romantic person, and this person is far from being romantic. So do you want to change your values about being romantic, or you want to change your meaning about being romantic, or you want to train and help this person become romantic? That means you want to handle the stress. You want to confront it and handle it. Or you want to downplay the need for romance by sort of like you're avoiding that stress by trying to downplay that. Okay, romance, well, anyhow, it's not as long as it brings money, all this other one are not necessary. You can decide to do that. But the question is always, for how long? We are talking about relationship now, and it's not something of maybe tomorrow, today. You might not even know when it's going to end. And there's a whole lot of things that people do in relationships. And you might also try to ignore as if it is not there. Avoid that it is there, but you are not taking that part. Ignore is that I'm pretending that it's not there. I'm pretending not to see it. But that could even put more stress on you than if you even decide to avoid. It's there, you avoid it. But to not think that no, it's not there. That's a problem on its own. So I've talked about, but yes, let me quickly say this one. Let me say this. What is the benchmark for balance in your relationship? That's the first question that I asked you. That's the first thing that you have even mentioned. If you are talking about maintaining stress level, what is the benchmark of your balance in relationship? What is that thing that you so anything that tilts that balance, anything that tampers with that line that you refer to as the norm for you in that relationship, anything that tilts it becomes a stress. Even your friend can become a stress in your relationship.
True.
Yeah, your friend can become a stress because the friend's like, this your guy is so handsome. I say, every day you saying this guy is handsome. I hope you don't have any hidden agenda. He said, no, I'm just admiring him. And one day maybe you're talking to your guy, say, I just been talking with your friend. What are you discussing? We're just discussing, that person is becoming a stress on something that used to be balanced. So that person becomes a stressor in that area. Now, if we talk about finances, there are different aspects of relationship, like I mentioned before. Finances. People have different angles, different explanations about finances in relationship. But I have always been an advocate of transparent spending. And I don't encourage people to put their money together if they are not yet married. Don't put everything in somebody's account. Keep it in your account, but you can spend together. Don't carry your ATM and give her or give him and push all your money into his account. Stories that touch. I sit in my office almost every day and I hear stories that touch. So I encourage people, do transparent spending. Don't put all the money in someone's account. Transparent spending. That means I spend this one, I spend this one. So when you now get into marriage now, it's an extension of relationship. Then you can decide either you're going to have a joint account or whatever. And one thing that brings stress in that area of relationship is when your financial intelligence is not the same. When your financial intelligence is not related at all. Some people, when money comes to their hand, until that money finish, they will not be at rest. For some people, as that money is sent, you don't even know money has entered. They just behave as if nothing has happened. So if both of you now get married, the first stress will be that this person is spending recklessly. And then you just see new things in there. We don't need this thing. He said, no, I just bought a new phone. You bought a phone in January. This is March. He said, yes, a new latest one had come out. I want to buy, I must be using latest phone. That becomes a stress. And you have been using your phone for 3 years and you have been maintaining it. And the person, and so there's a misunderstanding of financial equity. I say, what's wrong? What's wrong in what I'm doing? And you will think everything is wrong about what the person is doing. So stress has already come, such that if 10 naira is on the table, somebody is trying to save that and somebody is trying to spend it. And then you might say, okay, it's either I avoid you in this house, or it's either I avoid discussion around finances, or I keep my money, you keep your money. So now, like I said, let me show you this rubber band as an example. That kind of behavior will put stress on the family finance. And you begin to pull this rubber band until it breaks. And by the time it breaks, there are going to be a lot of crises in the family. A whole lot of things. One other thing is the area of sex and intimacy. Sex and intimacy are not actually the same thing. Intimacy should start before you get to sex, because people have sex without being intimate. Sex does not bring intimacy, but intimacy that is correctly laid up will lead to sex that is rewarding. So, more of you in relationship, people have different kinds of how do I call it now, libido level. And then somebody say, okay, when we get married or in this marriage, the guy was, I mean, sometimes, most of the time, it's the guy that is on the high side of libido. But I've seen the reverse severally as a family counselor. And the wife is saying, this man has not touched me for 5 weeks. And I say, 5 weeks. And now, it was 5 weeks. Is it food? You can see now that there is stress. Someone wants it regularly, but the word regularly does not have the same meaning with both of them. So there is stress already. Now, another thing could be in personal development. That's another thing. I mean that's very key now. Personal development. So somebody in the relationship wants to, after masters, have PhD. Even if you are not going to have PhD, do short course like 3 or 4 or 5. I've seen people that have 5 masters, and I wonder, you won't sell them. And somebody say, I mean, you just do some short courses and that is all. So if in relationship they do not have on issues like that, it means that anytime you talk about developing yourself, there's a stress. In fact, it becomes a stress already. Somebody say, no, I have 2 masters and I'm okay. He said, no, but what are you doing again? So you have registered for another masters, but you just finished one. Why are you wasting the money? Which one are we going to use to train the children? I said, don't worry. When the children grow, they will train themselves. You understand? So a whole lot of things can put stress on relationship. A whole lot of things. And like I said, talking about maintaining means that you need to first of all understand your balance as the benchmark so that you can maintain that balance. But let me also say this, that for you to grow in any area of your life, you need a level of stress. A level of stress. Where the stress becomes a problem is when it begins to impede on your health, begin to impede on your emotion, and then you are not able to function effectively because you are reaching a point of breaking, and it might even lead you to the onset of depression if stress is not properly managed. It can lead to quite a lot of things if it's not properly managed, because it becomes a problem when you get to your limit and then the pool has not stopped. Okay, let me pause here to see if you have any comments.
There are few positive. Talk more on how to.
Your voice is running again, or?
Hello.
Okay, I can hear you now. Yes,
okay.
It's like I'm missing.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Someone is asking for you to talk more about stress, how to adapt to the stress.
Okay, how to adapt.
Yes, to stress, because
okay,
because of all the stress in this country.
Okay.
Emotional stress is what? Please share more light on that.
Okay. So I'm even reading some of the things from here. Okay, now this is what I've said about how you can adapt to stress. If you are not able to overcome it, if it is outside your circle of control, you will not be able to do anything about it. Now let's look at the fuel hike. You and I can't do anything about it. And you still drive a car. Nigerians are very good at adapting to stress. You know how we have been since we are adapting to stress? Since we were born, it's like we are born to adapt to stress. Somebody you just turn it to comedy and that's all.
True.
Somebody just turn it to comedy, do somebody's skit, 3, 4, 5 comedy. That is all we are forgetting. You know how many things we are forgetting in this country because we just have. So adapting to it happens when you are not able to do anything by the virtue of who you are and by the virtue of that particular stressor. I just give an example of the fuel increase. Another example is if you're a student and you have a lecturer who doesn't know how to teach, who just come to the class and probably just do blah, 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 and say, go and buy handout. Number one, you cannot remove that lecturer and you can't run away from that class because he marks attendance. So you adapt by just sitting down, giving it a different meaning. See, when you change your meanings, your life becomes better. And I also know that if you hate your lecturer, you might not pass his course because you not even listen to him. Even if you want to do expo, it should be what to know that you do expo. So adapting now means that, see, I can't handle this thing because of the situation. So I will change my meaning that, okay, this thing cannot kill me, can't take my life. This thing is not as difficult as I think it is. It's not a matter of life to me. It's not a matter of life and death to me. I will overcome it. Now, let me give you an example. For example, you are driving home and you are very, very tired. Very tired. And then suddenly you enter into a traffic. Now, inside that traffic, there's no amount of your anger that can move your car forward by 1 inch.
Sure.
You put your hand on the horn, you are adding to distress. Just change the minute, say, well, in the next 30 minutes, I will leave it. Give yourself 30 minutes and just distract your brain. Switch on the radio, do something and just, before you know it will be 30 minutes. You have adapted to the stress that thing wants to give you. The stress is there, but you have decided not to allow the stress to dictate the situation because you can't handle it. Because you cannot handle it, you change the meaning. It's about changing your perception or about your meaning about that particular stressor. It has worked for me. It has worked for me, especially in traffic. I don't fret inside traffic. I live in Lagos now. And this is Abuja. There's no traffic in this Abuja. When they say traffic, I've not seen traffic in Abuja. Apart from that, and it's a moving traffic. Go to Lagos now. You see, we live there before. So I decided to just change my meanings. I know this is not traffic. That I give myself time that in 10 minutes this will be over. And actually, like 9, 10, 11 minutes will be over. So that's in terms of that. But now let's bring it to relationship now. This is where it becomes a bit dicey. If you're in a marriage, if you're in a marital situation, it's different from if you're in a dating situation. In a dating situation, if it's something that you think you cannot adapt to it, I encourage you to opt out of the relationship. Especially if there is deceit, and there is violence. But when it now comes to marriage, it becomes a bit more complicated because it's now like a sealed situation that has like put both of you, that has tied both of you together, something like that. So in that situation, you find a way of trying, the first thing I said, changing your meaning, changing your perception about that thing. If it does not work, get the other person involved. Say, can we just discuss this? If you say, no, that is my way of life. Then you need to go back and properly reorientate yourself in such a way that thing does not create stress for you. You can laugh it off. See, these comedians, they are doing a lot of work for Nigerians. I'm telling you.
True.
I'm telling you. There's so many of them. So many of them. I follow just a few of them because I'm funny myself. So before you can make me laugh, you go try. You will try. So that comedy or just, okay, like here, let me just read a few things I have here. That one of the ways you can overcome stress is to share your body with a professional. who will be able to help you do a map it out as okay, can do this and this. It can even give you an emotional calendar for the day, for the week, emotional calendar that you mark, and then you look at it as okay, these are your stressors. You get stressed around this time of day, when this thing happens, you get stressed. That can help you. So in adapting, a professional can help you to adapt if it is what you cannot handle. If it is what you can handle, you don't need to adapt. You can sort it completely, especially if you are the one. For example, as a married counselor, married professional, I encourage people to write family constitution, for example. And in the family constitution, you are not to allow terrorists to come into your house. Who are the terrorists in your house? And daughter of uncle, this and that is coming to live in your house. No problem. But to auntie something's house, and then the person comes to your house and she starts misbehaving, and you say, oh, because it's a family matter, and if I beat her now, family will talk. That person has become a terrorist. They have become a terrorist in your own family. You can't handle it. Well, you can actually handle it. You see, if you don't get out of this house, I'll call your parents, please come and pick your daughter by Saturday. Say, hey, no. They not call uncle. Uncle will not call you. You know his family now. You not call your father. Come and say, no way, this person is getting out of my house today. You can handle that stress. But if you don't handle it and you're avoiding it, it becomes a big thing. And then, I mean, you just find that you are fighting yourself. Since you are probably just overrunning yourself. Your anger is just pulsating just because of that thing. But you can handle it. But when you cannot handle and you cannot avoid, I mean the one that I cannot avoid, yes, just adapt to it. Adaptation is not very easy, especially in the long run. So what we do is that we help you change your strategy of adaptation along the line until something changes in the other person, especially in the stressor. Let me now give you a very good example of adaptation. If you live in a house, in an area where there's always no light, and everybody on their generator, the very first day you move to that environment, you feel like crazy. Generator everywhere. Second day, by the third week or something, you will not hear generator sound again. They are there. But your brain has adapted that, okay, this area is a noisy area. Just like if you are living around a poultry, the smell, if you just move in there, the smell will almost kill you. But after a while, it's only your visitor that will perceive the smell. You don't perceive it again. It's still there. The body has adapted to it, so you can't even. So that's what I'm trying to explain. I think I've answered that question.
Yes. Yes. Was. Please share more light on emotional stress.
Okay, stress is emotional.
Yeah, someone said emotional stress is worse. That you share more light on that.
And stress itself is emotional. Okay, so it's emotional because that's why I mentioned the hormones that causes stress. When you are physically tired from a stressful situation, it's because your body has been overcharged, so to say. The body has been overcharged, so to say, so it becomes a physical tiredness on you. But stress itself is emotional. It happens right from your thoughts and belief system, those environments. Like I said, anything that destabilizes your balance is stress. For example, let me give you this example. You and your husband, for example, you have been living on your own, and then a baby comes. That baby becomes like a beautiful intruder. Because now, you say, I'm busy with the baby. So the time you have for your personal self and for that person has reduced. So it is from your emotion for that something has tilted our normal way of doing things. Then when it comes to you, you got a new job, for example. Okay, no, let me say a relationship. You are dating somebody, and then everything was going on well until one day his mom called and you are the one who you saw the phone, you gave it to him that your mom is calling. And after speaking to him, I say, okay, let me say, mom want to speak with you. He now gave you the phone. And I say, okay, how are you? I'm fine. Has he told you? Say, what, ma? You mean he has not told you? I don't know. He has not told me anything. Okay, don't worry. He will tell you. And the mom will cut phone on the other hand. Number one, your emotion will be fluctuating. What is it? What is it that he did? You say, your mom say you tell me something. He said, don't mind mommy, don't mind mommy. Please tell me. She said you should have told me, and he didn't tell you. You know when you get home, you're not able to sleep. Because that thing is threatening something that's already balanced. So that happens in the place of your emotions. And along the line, it will put stress on your physical body because you will be visibly tired from the over-racing that is going on in your brain. So stress is actually emotional. It's an emotional thing. So when we say emotional stress, we're still talking about the same thing. I'm just trying to give an example. I can see something and somebody says, so good stress can also become bad in the long run. Can you see that too?
Yes, I think I saw it.
From my age. So good stress, yes, good stress can become a bad stress if there's a change in the trajectory. Good stress, that like I said before, for you to move ahead in your life, you need a measure of stress. You want to pass your exam, you have to read. That's a measure of stress. That's a measure of good stress because you want to. But if at the end of the day you read and the lecturer still say nobody's going to have first class in this something, and they didn't give people first class, at the end of the day you feel bad about it. But it's not because you have not done the right thing. But you now look at it and say, how this stress that I put on myself, at the end of the day I didn't get a good result. The stress did not turn bad, but someone did something that added stress to what was already on ground. And then by the time it comes out, you are not happy. So you feel bad entirely. So the good stress that I'm talking about is something that needs to develop you. I mean, there can be stress on your body if you are reading. Especially, okay, let me give you an example. Pregnancy is a good stress. Pregnancy comes with a lot of stress. Stress from month 0 till baby comes out. Then another level of stress starts after. So it's a good stress. But if it's not well managed, it can become bad in the long run if the mother, for example, has a postpartum disorder. You understand? It's from a stress that leads to something that because it was not well managed. All right.
We have, what type or level of stress do we need to grow in life, as mentioned?
That's difficult to answer. It depends on you. Some people, I've seen people who did 2 PhDs together. That's serious stress because one is enough to knock you out. But there are some people who cannot even do one 6-week course online. I'm doing one currently now. We're going to have a meeting by 8 p.m. today. We're going to submit assignments by tomorrow. We're going to submit every week assignments. Some people cannot even cope with that level. So it depends on individuals. Our stress threshold differs. Some have very, very high threshold. It takes time. I mean, before you know it, some people don't get stressed easily. But some, one small thing, they get stressed. So it depends on individuals. It depends on how you have trained yourself to adapt to situations. Those who keep saying that I don't like stress, so I don't like anything that will those people, you are not able to even move ahead. Because anything you want to do in life, that will stress you. You want to have more degree, it will. You even want to toast a babe, that's a stress already. Sometimes the babe says no. Or you want to go and do kneeling down and take my ring, and if you lose your ring at T junction, everybody has gathered. That's a stress on his own. So it depends. It varies from person to person. Actually, that's what I'm just trying to say. It's difficult to peg it.
Okay.
Right.
When you say maintaining stress level in relationship, can it be sibling, friends, or marriage relationship, or you mean all relationship?
Well, it also depends on what we mean by relationship. Relationship is multifaceted. Okay. You and your neighbor, that's a relationship. You and your co-worker, that's a level of relationship. You and your sibling, there is a relationship. You and your parents, you and your boyfriend or your fiancé or your girlfriend, that's a relationship. So whatever relationship that it is, there could be stress in that relationship. So maintaining that stress level is to maintain the homeostasis, ensure that it doesn't getting you to a breaking point. It doesn't get to a breaking point. But stress is a significant. That's what I just put it there. That stress is a significant emotional event. Something that's significant, something that your body even know that something is happening. There's no way you have stress passing through you and you will know. It is significant enough for you to know, and it's an event and it's emotional, like I earlier mentioned. So it depends on how you are looking at the relationship. You can be stressed. Okay, for example, sibling rivalry is a stress. Sibling rivalry is a whole lot of stress. You are planning something in your family, and there was always one person that was no, I don't want to be part of that thing you are doing, and the person walked out of the meeting. That's a stress. You try to encourage him. We are one in this family. He said, no, I don't care, and he goes and he leaves you people. That's a stress. But because you cannot force him to do what you want him to do, how to maintain that stress level is to keep him at the side. If he wants to join. If he does not want to join, leave him. Like that, you are maintaining a balance with or without him. Because you want to force him into it again, you will cheat the whole thing, and then you start all over again. So it depends on the angle we are looking at. It depends on whichever angle that we are looking at it from.
Okay. Someone said, I've seen relationship where a guy is just trying to establish himself, but yet has a girl he's dating. But financially, the girl feels the guy is not trying enough to keep her. I mean financially. So, sir, in such case, I consider this as stress. What do you think can happen in such cases, and what way do you think one can deal with such emotional stress?
So I'm trying to read that because your voice keeps again. Please, can you help me read it?
So I think basically he's saying a guy is trying to establish himself financially, and he has a girl, but the girl thinks he's not doing enough for her financially. So he considers this as stress. And what do you advise in such case? And how can you deal with it?
Oh, all right. Meaning that your timing is different. And that's going to be a continuous stress. This person wants you to arrive now, but you need more time to arrive. Sure. So your timing chain, or whatever I want to call it now, is not at the same level. So if this person cannot wait for you, step out of the relationship, because you continue to be in that stress. And this person can put so much stress on you that for you to impress her, you might go and put your fingers into what you shouldn't have done normally. So the person has already told you that. It's like saying, I can't wait for your speed is too slow for me. I need somebody on the fast lane. And you do not want to jump on the fast lane because you don't have the capacity for that fast lane now. And that fast lane can be a mirage, because you are trying to build your life gradually, going through process. You don't want to go into fantasy. So the best thing is to step out of that relationship, maybe temporarily, or if the person cannot wait. If the person cannot wait now, she won't be able to wait later. If you are still dating and the person cannot wait for you in dating, the person is not going to wait in marriage. So in that situation, if you are unable to resolve it, then just step aside, because that stress will remain on you. It's just like you see a phone call now, your heart will skip. Okay, hello babe. You say, hey, how far? Have you gotten the money? Which money? The 100,000. I said, but I told you I said, and she called back. So you're perpetually stressed, as long as she's within your emotional space. In that situation, step aside.
So would you recommend going on breaks, like people that take breaks in relationship?
Yeah, take break, but don't just take break without planning the break.
Okay.
I've seen a lot of people say they're going on break and it's not defined. We're going on 6-month break. And in this 6 months, we talk to each other every 2 weeks. How far we have gone. We have an assignment, we have a timeline, we have action points. So every 2 weeks, you tell me what you have done about this. Okay, let's assume that there are 3 points that are causing the problem in the relationship. We give ourselves that you need a professional to actually plan this. Okay. Every 2 weeks, give an update. What have you done? If you have called for about 2 weeks, that's 6 weeks, and one person has not done anything, and then you are giving yourself like 6 months break, you find that by the end of 6 months, this person will not have done anything. So we don't just say let's go on break like that. Go on break, but plan the break, itemize it, document it, and have meeting days between that break to appraise what you have done. You understand?
Yes.
That is how break can work. For example, now this financial thing now that this person just mentioned, if you decide to go on break, and then let it be that break has action point that has to do with that finances, that is the major issue in this marriage. If not, that break will just be like a break that can break them. All right.
When you are stressed, keeping silence. Can you hear me?
Hello? Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, it's like we tripped off a bit. Okay, go on.
Okay. When you are stressed emotionally, can keeping silent
help you? No.
Okay.
Keeping silent does not help you, especially if you're keeping silent for too long. You can keep silent to maintain your sanity, so that you don't want to say the wrong thing. But as soon as you are able to you're able to get to the point of saying the right thing, then silence is no longer golden at that time. Say it, but look for the best time and communicate in the best way. Communicate your opinion in the best way. Don't keep silent. Keeping silent does not give the other person the correct information you want to pass across. He or she can assume that keeping silence means you have accepted the situation, or you are avoiding the situation. Your silence can give me opportunity to think wide, to just give it any meaning. So don't keep silent perpetually.
Okay.
Say something. Okay. Yeah, say something.
Ignoring stress. Which do you think is?
Ignoring, I'm trying to look for it.
Ignoring stress. Have you seen it?
Yeah, no, I've not. It's like when you trip off, you cut off all those other ones. Okay, let me hear you. Ignoring stress is what?
Ignoring stress in a relationship.
I miss you. I miss 2 sentences from that. Ignoring stress in a relationship.
Ignoring stress and avoiding it. Which one is better?
Okay, good. There's no good or better or best in this thing. We look at the situation and say which one is adaptable.
Okay.
Which one is workable in this situation. If it is something you can handle, you don't need to ignore or avoid it.
Okay.
But if it's something that you do not have the power to overcome, power to change, ignoring it temporarily before you're able to address it, or avoiding it might be a solution. But sometimes those things are just temporary solution. You understand? But we need to know exactly what the situation is. There's something there's something I cannot just say here, because I don't know. I'm not supposed to give a blanket statement as a professional. You understand? You don't give a general statement. You need to know the specific situation of the person involved. And that would now say, okay, in this situation, let's do this. A lot of times, I carry some women come around for counseling, and then their husband is doing this and that and that. And we have these processes that we give them how to communicate with your husband as a process. It works for some people. It doesn't work for some other people until we now ask more questions. For some people, by the 3rd stage, they already get on communication line with their husband. For some people, they will need to finish all the 5 steps before it works for them. So it depends. All right.
So I think that's the last. My voice keeps echoing. Apologies for that. On the final note, what advice do you have for us? in terms of stress, relationship, trying to balance work relationship, emotional relationship, and other forms of relationships?
Well, the very first thing is you should know your own limit.
Okay.
If you know your limit, is good, so that when anything is coming around you that wants to break that limit, you find a way to palliate it, a way to calm it down.
Okay.
If you are the kind of person who would not like to be put under pressure, and then you now got the guy you want to get married to, he's putting under pressure for you to get married, and you are not ready, that pressure can affect you in your place of work. That pressure can even affect your health. So tell this person, please, I don't like being put under pressure. Can we just take this thing one after the other? So meaning that you need to communicate to people giving you stress, or people asking you things that will put stress on you, the way you like to be handled. In family systems engineering, you call that one your user manual. Every human being must have a user manual. This is my user manual. If you push me too much, I won't produce it. I won't be able to. I will not be productive. But if you allow me to work at this pace, I will still deliver, but this is my, this is, so you have already given the person your user manual. It's easier that way. So know yourself, let people know who you are, and let it be good. I mean, communicate your displeasure. Don't bottle it. And then if you know you are not able to handle this thing, get a professional to give you 1 or 2 tips.
All right.
Thank you so much. Don't forget that stress is part of life, actually.
Pardon?
Stress is don't forget that stress is part of life.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. All right. Thank you so much.
Yes. Have a good evening.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much.
Yeah. And sincere apologies for the echo. I don't know where the problem is coming from.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
Someone said you should not go yet. In my whole life of being on Instagram, this is my first time of being on live session for a good 1 hour.
Okay.
They don't want you to go.
Okay. What else? Does he want to ask a question?
Do you have a question for Coach?
Okay, official Mr. Soj. Mr. Soj.
Yes.
Okay, thank you for. Don't go yet now. Okay, I stay. I see they stay.
I am now asking questions now.
If you have questions, let me know.
Thank you so much, sir.
All right, thank you so much.
Good evening.
Okay, I appreciate it.
Bye.
Thanks.
Bye.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today, and have a good evening and a stress-free week ahead. Bye.